And this is the main point. This is the main point. 1,000 American families are worrying because the people in those families who volunteered for the military might actually be deployed militarily. This is the misunderstanding, and it's not just a misunderstanding. It's defamation as well. It's the idea that anybody who's got kids in the military or parents in the military, whatever the case may be, are economically deprived, and they're so desperate, they're so incredibly desperate that they're forced. It's almost like they're giving their child up to a coal baron or something, and they're forced to part with their dear loved one who's got tears streaming down his eyes. Mom, I don't want to go. People who say things like that have never met anybody in the military, and they certainly haven't met anybody on the sharp end of that spear. I know hundreds of people in the military, and I have never heard one of them say, "I don't want to go." If you don't want to go, you don't join the military. Nobody's forcing you. It's not a conscript army. It's an entirely volunteer army. And when people say things like, "Well, we got to bring our troops home," or that's not what the troops want. The troops want to defend the United States. And if they're going to be asked to risk their lives, they want to know that they're going in with everything we've got and not leave them out there to just die on a roof of a building in Benghazi someplace because somebody's worried about the political consequences. So we're not talking about boots on the ground operation, number one. And number two, this idea that the troops, all they do is just sit around in abject terror, or their families for that matter. Oh God, no! I signed up to be a ranger, and now they're actually sending me to war. What? Please take your personal cowardice and keep it to yourself. And speaking of personal cowardice, one of these comments that came up a bunch, I saw this in a lot of places, is, "Well, if you think we want war so much, why don't you just go over there and grab a rifle and fight?" First of all, I am fully prepared to do that. I have been my entire life. And I've tried to be in the military a couple times, but this is absolutely beside the point. 100% beside the point. It is a personal attack to the degree that what they're trying to do is to make you sound like a coward for arguing a political historical action, when in fact what they're doing is saying the exact same thing as me saying, "You're talking about more money for schools? Yeah. Are you a teacher? No. Well, then shut up. You don't get to talk about schools if you're not a teacher." And I also heard you talking about the environment. Are you a scientist? No. Do you run a factory? No. Then you don't get to talk about global warming. If you want to do something about global warming, go out and get a degree and do something yourself. This kind of argument, this chicken hawk argument, this keyboard commander argument, is the one that the left uses because, and this is really simple. So let me make this crystal clear for our progressive friends who came to that last episode and are coming to this one. When you say that people who believe that a strong military presence and a strong military response is the best way to maintain the peace, when you accuse those people of cowardice, what you're doing is you're projecting your own cowardice onto us. I'm sorry if you're not willing to read the history or spend the time necessary to do it. And I also understand that you, like every other person like you, human history goes all the way back to written history. People like you think that people are different now, that human beings have changed, that this is no longer the way things are. Our country is a much kinder place than it used to be. It is a much more tolerant place than it used to be. But we're not the problem. We're not sinking ships randomly for the hell of it. We're not doing any of that stuff. So, when you see this coexist thing, coexist bumper sticker is a message from a person of a extremely sophisticated, trust-based, highly restrained culture, telling other members of the same culture that war is bad. Well, no kidding. But we're not the ones who've been at war since 1979. Those are the guys who need to get the message. And I wish human nature was different, but it's not. If you're willing to shoot a young woman down in the streets, among many, 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 if you're willing to have a sniper take out a beautiful young woman because she dares speak up against your regime, then you're not the same kind of person that we are, and you need to be dealt with appropriately. If you want to turn your own country into a living hellhole, I guess there's not much we can do about that. But when you start doing things like blowing up ships that are in international waters, shooting down drones that are in international airspace. We need to make it clear to you savages in a way that you will understand that this is not something you're going to get away with for free and be rewarded for. Not anymore.